All right. Good morning, everybody. Hi, and welcome to Tea Transitions, the podcast for women building a life abroad. I'm Rose Davenport.
Hi, I'm Farah Baker. We're here for the real stuff, the highs, the lows, and everything else all in between.
And very briefly, Tea Transitions it's a podcast dedicated to highlighting the emotional, cultural, and personal journeys of women navigating major life changes from relocation and identity shifts to career pivots and beyond. So, as someone who had migrated from Singapore to the US 25 years ago, I've experienced firsthand the complexities of starting over in a new country. Through those challenges, I discovered how deeply layered and resilient women's journeys can be and how often those stories go untold. That's what inspired me to create Tea Transitions, a space to give voice to the lived experiences of women around the world.
So, whether you are starting afresh or finding your way or in the middle of your journey, you're in the right place. Now, without further ado, we would like to welcome our guest for today, Kat. Hi, Kat. Welcome.
Good morning. Hi,
Hi,
Kat. And we call her Kat.
hi. Good morning. Thanks for having me. How's everybody doing?
Absolutely. We are doing great. Pleasure is ours. So, Kat, if you don't mind, give us a snippet of your background and your story a little bit.
So I was born and raised in Singapore. I moved to the US. Wow, hold on. 23 years ago,
Not too bad.
back in 2002. I moved when I was 20 here. So feel free to calculate my age. And I've been here since. I am currently working as a registered nurse in neuro ICU.
Mm.
And other than that, just dipping in little hobbies here and there.
So, what made you initially relocate to the US?
Like most women, it's usually about a boy, and though I did not really want to move here because, as we all know, it means you're packing your life up in two big suitcases, and then you have to leave everybody behind. And then, that was not what I wanted to do. But there were, because of his work, there was no way that he could relocate. So I decided to relocate myself instead.
Now, you are one of the ones of our guests who came here pretty young when you're 20, you said, right? You came.
Yeah. hmm
How was that experience for you at the age of 20?
You know, I was at the phase of rebellion at that point in time, and thinking that, oh, I can do it, and oh, it's really no big deal, and I can always figure things out. Growing up, I was always the hard-headed one
Mm.
in the family, and you know, but knowing what I know now, I probably would not have moved that young. But as we all know, you live and you learn. But I'm not regretful of, the decision, because I honestly don't think I can be where I am now in life professionally if I did not push myself and actually make that move.
So, on that topic, there, how or your decision whether or not did it impact your relationships with both your family and your friends, and if so, did it shift?
You know, no, I think my family knew. I don't know if they understood because I think in my family we do a lot of not talking about things, but I think they know my personality has not changed. So they know I'm the kind of person, if I decided on something, whether or not I put a lot of thought into it, I was gonna have to see it through anyway. And they knew that at the end of the day, I was gonna figure it out. So
For
I
our,
think,
our
mhm.
Singaporean listeners, that attitude is called the die die must be attitude.
Yeah, it's the die must try attitude, right? It's
Exactly.
yeah, I think it's like, but
Right.
I'm still friends with my friends. Um, we all, have lives, of course, so we try to keep in touch as much as we can. And I'm also still in touch with some friends from school too. So I think I've pretty much maintained, maybe a little bit poorly on my part, to like keep in contact with people, but I'm maintaining the relationships before I moved here.
Now, from my understanding, you continued your education when you were here, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
You continued your education.
Farah, you're a
Yeah.
little soft, by the way, your voice. Go ahead,
Or,
Kat. Sorry.
repeat the question. You continued your education here, and at what age did you start again?
So it was a little late start for me, because when I first moved here, there were a lot of hurdles that I had to go through, like navigating separation, divorce, and then the whole thing of being independent, learning how to drive, making a living for yourself. And I finally, it took me a really long time to finally get the gears rolling,
Mm.
but it took me a while, just because, when you're supporting yourself, and then you're trying to put yourself through school, but then you also have bills to pay, and then you're also trying to learn how to drive, and then you have to buy a car, and then you have to, so it was a struggle, like the first few years, just trying to mm, get myself to a place where I can comfortably work and go to school. Um, but in most, if not all of my classes, the kids were at least 8 to 10 years younger than I was, even when I was in nursing school. Yeah, so there was always that generational
Gap.
gap,
Mm-hmm.
and finding relevance in what they're into versus what I'm into, on top of the cultural differences.
Talk a little bit more about the cultural differences. How did you then make your surroundings yours?
I think you, you have to just kind of put yourself out there. Um, you know, it's I don't know. I feel like it's like, for example, learning how to drive. I never drove in Singapore. Transportation is a breeze in Singapore. So coming here, one, driving on the wrong side. Can I say it? They drive on a different side here in the US. And then, like learning how to drive. It was a challenge for me. And I don't know. I just feel like I
And
just
intimidating too.
Yeah, it is. And then, it's always because, when I first started driving, my job was about a good 45 minutes each
Wow.
way. And it got to a point where it was more of a necessity. I did not have that luxury of having things handed to me. So it was more like, if I don't do it, I don't work, and if I don't work, I don't get paid. So it's kind of like,
Die, die
I
must
just have
do.
exactly. So it's kind of like it's I think it's that grit,
Yeah.
you know, in me, that I'm just like, you know what, if you don't do it, who else is going to? So when it comes to cultural differences, it's all like, learning. I'm still learning, I feel like if you don't learn, you're never going to grow. So I just put myself out there and learn and adapt. I think being able to adapt is very, very
Key.
important when you have to move. Essentially, we move by ourselves, right? So
Correct.
it's like, if we are not adaptable, I think it's very, very hard to transition easily.
Let's talk a little bit more about relationship building. Considering what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong here. Do you have close friends in the area? How do you actually put yourself out there and make your living space and your workspace as a comfortable zone for you to continue move forward, because you talk about adapting, you talk about being resilient, but what about emotionally? Were you out there reaching out to the community? Hey, I'm a newbie. Do you network?
So that is still something that I think I kind of struggle with. I think it's more so because of the type of personality I have. I'm outgoing, but my social battery drains pretty quickly. I think the older I get, but when I was younger, I usually make more friends at my employment or at school. And, you know, but not so much within the community that I live. Because I remember when I was living alone in an apartment and I worked at a local bank. And, like I would hang out with them at work. And then, I'm always nice to customers or whatever. And then I was out at a bar and then I saw a customer from the bank and he approached me. He said, "Oh, you're that girl from the bank." And my first immediate thought was, I gotta move out of this neighborhood because I don't really want, I like to separate my work life from my personal life. And the
I
mere fact that he now knows where I work. And I mean, he wasn't being a creep or anything, but I just did not like that interaction. It's something that I'm still trying to work within myself. Like, I'm like, okay, you know where I work. I don't really want to see you outside of work kind of thing. Like, I draw a line,
Yeah.
But on that same token, you work at the hospital today. By the way, on behalf of everybody, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being the front line, holding on to the fort, even during COVID. You made it, you did it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Kat.
Thank you. The effects of COVID,
Yeah,
the effects of COVID on healthcare workers as a whole. I think it's something that deserves to be studied.
Mhm.
Personally, it has affected me. Just seeing what COVID did to people, and it's still doing, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it. Yeah, but thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate the thanks. It was
That's the
tough.
die attitude right there. Die,
Yeah,
I have to do this and help,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So going back to what you're saying about your customers knowing where you work, how's that today with you working at the hospital? Do you still have that attitude?
So I think when it comes to patients and their family members, um, you know, we were always taught not to, it's like establishing boundary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the good thing is, the hospital I work for is in the city, and I work about a good 35 minutes away. So that part is not gonna commingle. Um, I have really, really close friends that I work with, excellent nurses who are like my big sisters, and we hung out, we're still hanging out outside of work sometimes. Um, but I don't have any issues with bumping into anybody just because the setting that I'm in is inpatient, is critical care, and it's not like a clinic where I would, have a chance of
Yeah,
bumping into any patients. So that's good.
very
Now,
good.
now you can you hear me fine?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Hmm.
having a little audio issues here from my house. Now, when you were picking yourself up, after your divorce and doing this all by yourself, did you have any kind of support?
I think I don't really like to trouble people, I think that's one of my biggest downfall is that I don't want to be a burden to anybody. So a lot, like a lot of the times, like I just kind of went with the flow. I'm sure, there were friends very few that I would call with my problems, right? But then at the end of the day, it's more so like, okay, what can they do about it other than, you know, giving you a shoulder to cry on? And, and a lot of times that's enough, right? Because
Yeah.
just knowing that somebody understands where you're coming from. But I do, I remember it's not like but when I was going through filling out the immigration paperwork, and it was three of us Singaporean girls. We knew each other from when we were already in Singapore. It just so happened that three of us moved around the same time. So of course, not having the funds to have like an immigration lawyer, three of us, we would always call each other and say, so how do you fill this out? What is this question asking me? So that's the kind of support
Yeah.
that I think is very important, because I feel like outside of the community, I did not really have time to like mingle because I had a plan,
Mhm.
and a timeline that I have to execute whatever it was that I wanted to deal with.
Mhm.
And it's like, I know, Rosie, you were saying that you had friends in the Vietnamese community, and then, you were part of that. I think for me, I could not do that
Mm.
because I was pretty much moving apartments once a year
Mm.
because of that mentality that I had. Like, I don't want people to know me on that level, like within my community. But I still, thankfully, still had all my close friends. I had a lot of friends from Singapore who moved to the US. So we were each other's
There you go.
lifeline.
That's nice.
So
Mm.
so that was, I'm still very thankful for that because they're all still my friends,
Yeah.
thankfully.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know. Um, Let me ask you this then. What personal strengths or qualities have surprised you along the way, Kat? Besides the die must do attitude.
I think, um that grit that you mentioned, and I think, you know I don't know, because I'm part, what do you call it, Boyanese, the
Mhm.
Bawean people, where a lot of the island is known for men moving out of the country to go make a living. So I don't know if, that's helped me, my genes. But I
Mm.
think, the ability to, I think that is actually what my biggest strength, and the strength that surprised me the most,
Yeah.
because like, when I think back, it's like you moved to a country with two 29-inch suitcase, right? And
Sounds about the same, most of us. Two luggages.
exactly. And then, and then, so it's like you move to a foreign country, you don't know anybody, you don't know
Yeah.
what the country is about, people don't know you. And I think, just having that mentality, when I was going to nursing school, I see the kids like playing around, and I'm like, you know what? I paid for this class. If I'm gonna play around, I'm gonna fail, then I'm still gonna end up paying the money.
Yeah.
So I think the mere fact that I had no choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest strength. It's like, if I don't do it, nobody else will.
Yeah.
So I think that, being tolerant of, you know, whatever challenges comes my way, I was gonna have to adapt to it because I didn't have a choice.
I think that is part and parcel of the migrant mentality.
Yeah,
Need
Hmm.
You have to do whatever you need to make it.
yeah,
Make it work.
By the way, there are no other options, and
Mm.
we at least came singly, so to speak, as in
yeah,
we children in tow, we don't have
yeah,
a lot of responsibility except for ourselves and maybe
yeah.
our spouse. So in that sense, to me, people always have to put it in perspective, which is we are still blessed. We don't have
Hmm.
the responsibilities, just to focus on ourselves and try and make it, right?
But
Yeah.
did it ever occur to you then, Kat, to just say, crap, I'm done. I'm going back home?
You know, There were maybe a couple of times, and
Mm.
especially after the divorce, because my mom's pretty old school, and her trying to look out for me, her answer when I had a divorce and she knew how hard things were, she was like, you know what, it's okay to come home.
Mm.
And I say, nah, I'm good. I'll try,
Yeah.
And again, it's that die, can do, die, must try, right? So then, yeah, I think initially because my mom she kept saying, you don't have a husband anymore, and what are you gonna do? And I told her, I said, I don't need a husband. I
Mm.
can do this on my own,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm glad I didn't. And I'm glad I took the steps that I did, um, where now I can honestly say, like, independent.
Yes.
I wrote it down. Die can do, die must try. That's gonna be your tagline. Thank you, girl.
Yeah.
Um,
After
so go ahead. Sorry.
Now, after going through the divorce, getting yourself through school and succeeding, congratulations,
Thank
uh,
you.
where you are at, is there still a chance that you might move away somewhere else, maybe not back home?
So I remarried a while ago, and my husband now, he has a grandchild. They live in California, and California is like the mecca of the US because of the weather, the access to Asian food. So I've been trying to persuade him, but it's not working. The cost of living is a little too high. But if
Correct.
anything, if anything, I would move to LA where they are,
Mm.
because of them, of course, but also because of the food. I had initially last year, I saw a job posting on a Singapore's website, looking for a nurse at the
Mm.
American Embassy in Singapore.
Yeah.
And of course, I was like, that is a cushy job,
I
right?
remember you telling me. Yep.
Yeah, so then I immediately put up updated my resume. And then when I talked to Eddie, and then he was like, no, I don't think
Oh,
you should move, then it's going to be, it was basically last minute, unplanned, and, it was very uncertain, like what's going to happen, if he's going to move to. And I did not apply just because of the fact that I had a very strong inkling that I would get it,
mm.
because culturally I had it. I'm a
Yeah.
Singaporean,
Yeah.
and I was educated in the US. And one of the requirements, I believe, if I remember correctly, was able to drive an American vehicle.
Oh.
I'm like, check
Wow.
and check and check, right? So I was like, I'm definitely gonna get it, and
Yeah.
I don't wanna fight with Eddie or end up divorcing him, because if I get the job, I'm moving,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, I don't want to find out. So I actually aborted mission.
Oh.
Yeah, because I was that certain that I was going to get the job.
Mm.
So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
So what's next couple of years for you now, Kat?
You know,
What's the
I
future?
I don't like career wise.
Yeah.
I'm old. I do not want to give anybody any more of my money to go back to school.
Yeah.
So, and I think working in critical care is starting to get to me.
Mm.
There's that level of emotional burnout
Yeah.
and physical, as patients are getting heavier and heavier, they're getting
Mm.
sicker and sicker. My body is hurting more and more. I don't know. As right now, I'm holding on, but I've thought about venturing other aspects of nursing, but I don't know if I'm just nervous about taking the plunge, but I don't want to get bored,
Yeah.
because like right now, the way it is, my job is very fast paced. I work in neuro, So we get gunshot strokes,
Mm.
brain, spine surgeries, so it's always go, go, go. The 13 hours, 13 hours at work passes by really quickly. And I just don't want to um get bored, essentially.
Get stagnant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a worry for, I think, for us career women in that sense, that
Yeah.
not working, oh my God, it'll be so stagnant, and what do we do then?
Yeah, I mean, I am totally ready to start working at patient first. I always joke around with my friends and I say, I'm ready to go to patient
No.
first and be like, I see you come in and I will actually see you walk out.
Oh.
I think it's the burnout usually comes from seeing so many sad things, you know. Um, and I think, that's the kind of PTSD that you get that comes with this kind of nursing.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally
I
understand.
admire you nurses, because I
Yeah.
can simply, for the fact that I will not be able to cut myself off emotionally
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the scenario. It's too much.
Yeah, I
We
mean, I'm a softie. I still cry. Like, if I think it's the empathy and the sympathy that you feel, and like, especially with, like, I just recently, I think, to my last shift 2 days ago, where something devastating had happened, and I started bawling when this grown woman was crying out for her mom, and she was like, mommy, mommy,
Aw.
not my mommy, like that. And she's grown, and it was just the her voice is haunting, because I'm just like, I cannot imagine,
Mm.
so it's those, like, I've worked on that unit for about 11 years now. So
Wow.
it's like 11 years of trauma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I am ready to go to patient first, but I'm also scared, like, I'm gonna be bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
But
Not just yet, Kat. Not just yet. To your point, it's night and day if you move. I
yeah,
think this is a good time for self-reflection. There's a lot of things moving here in the States. So I guess that will probably be helpful for you to start planning what's next for you and Eddie. We are close to wrapping up, but I want to ask you this question after listening to that PTSD moment. What do you do for yourself, self-care?
when COVID ended, I felt myself, like, kind of being closed in.
Mm,
It's like, I don't know, it's like I need quiet time.
mm,
Like, when, every day when I'm home, I do one thing at a time. I don't turn on the TV, music's playing. Like, it's a lot of noise for me.
mhm, mhm,
So self-care, I'm still learning, other than talk therapy, right? Other than that, I like to do things by myself.
mm,
Um, walk around, go to the movies. Um, a lot of times, when I'm stressed out, I'm not the kind of person who reaches out to people.
mm,
So I try to, like you said, dig within myself.
mhm,
Um, just take time out. And, when COVID, when finally COVID not ended, but the
yeah,
worst of it came and went, um, Eddie was mentioning to me that he was like, you don't go out, you don't do anything with your friends. Find a passion that you like, and then see what you can do with it, right?
mm,
Because at that point during COVID, we're still short staffed, but I was doing one overtime shift a week. I only stopped doing it recently. I was doing one overtime shift a week for about a year and a half. So I
mm,
was working 48 hours a week, nonstop. So I was like, oh, you know what? I like shopping. I got extra money, since I only have a cat to take care of, So, I started looking at vintage items, like vintage bags and vintage luxury, just kind of see, luxury items should be accessible,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, to people.
Mhm.
Us poor people, we deserve nice things. So,
Because we
that
work
was,
hard, right? We work
yes,
hard. Yes.
exactly. It's like, either
Yes.
I'm going to spend my money on food or I'm going to spend my money on something pretty that I can actually see, right? So that was how I kind of got into what I'm doing now on the side.
Tell us a little bit about your side hustle.
So I I like to share my passion, which is pre-loved luxury. It's unbeatable prices, right? Because like if you look on big name websites such as like the Real, Vestiaire, blah blah blah, those prices I feel like are cheaper than retail prices, but I don't think it is accessible
Mm.
to regular people. So what I do is I look around, I spend all my time when I'm not at work, I spend all of my time looking online or, and I source items and then I share them with people. And if they like it, they buy it. If they don't buy it, it just sits in my room and I'm just a hoarder then of pretty things.
Yes.
Do you go out and pretend that that's yours? Like take pictures,
Oh
make
no,
me feel
so
good moment.
yeah, no, so actually, um, the hard part about it is I am also building my own collection. So I'll see things that I'm like, you know what, that's mine. And then, but the things that I'm like, okay, this is what I see the market, people, I observe the market and I see this is what people are looking for.
Yeah.
So then I'll buy them and people, Eddie thinks I'm crazy because I'll be like, I just want them to pay what I paid for it and just
Yeah.
cover shipping.
Yeah.
Because if not, I cannot make money off of it because I'm like, it's then I'm just doing what everybody else is doing, right? Because
But
my intention
are you
is to
having
share.
fun doing it, Kat? Are you having fun
Oh,
doing it? That's the
girl,
key here.
I'm having too much fun. It's a little bit stressful, especially now with the tariffs issue that's coming up, right? At the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
I think it used to be if I buy something from overseas, imported here to the US, $800, I don't have to pay any customs fee.
Mhm.
But starting the
Mm.
end of this month, if I buy something for $150,
How much
they're
you pay?
gonna they're going to tack on until they figure it out. I think they say each item will have an additional $80
Wow.
tacked on. Yeah.
And
So
oh,
that's where the headache comes in because I'm like, I'm trying to do what I'm doing now without
Make it
raising prices.
and
mhm.
trying to make it affordable too.
Exactly. Because how do I still keep it affordable? Because my profit margin was never there,
Yeah.
right? Because literally it's all whatever I paid for. And then, like the shipping that I estimated, because shipping is always free within the US for my items.
Yeah.
So then it's like, how I don't want to make it unaffordable because then it defeats my whole purpose.
Yeah. That
But
that is
I think, Kat, for for crazy person like me too, who enjoy carrying luxury items myself, which I might have to ping you offline. I have a couple I want to get rid of. I'm bored of them. Um, if you're being transparent to your customers, and for most of us living here in America, we understand what's going on. If they are willing to take responsibility of that portion of the tariffs, if you are coming transparent, I'm sure everybody will be like, no, Kat, don't worry about that. Just take care of what my needs are. It's
Yeah.
it's a matter of communication, understanding, spread the awareness, and let your audience know. It is what it is.
Yeah,
You know.
I think, generally, people understand what's going on
Yep. Yep.
and they know because like the things that I have sold and the things, I have listed, they can compare the prices, right? And then they can see, oh, you know what? You know, there's no way she's making any
Yeah.
money off of it, unless there are some people who think that for some reason it's like I go shop at Goodwill and then I get it for $1 and then I'm charging somebody 300, right? But that's not the
Mhm.
case. Like
No.
literally out of the monies that I have saved up is how I'm actually able to do this.
Yep.
So the more items I keep on hand, like all of these things that I'm looking at is giving me stress, because I'm just like, that's how many shifts that I work in able, to afford
Mhm.
that. So,
I
but
mean, that is the
All right.
reality of small businesses, isn't it? Right?
yeah.
Exactly. All right, ladies, we have less than a minute. So Farah, sorry, would you like to do your closing?
Yes, please. So if today's episode resonated with you, dear listeners, please hit subscribe, leave us a quick comment below, or share it with a friend. Follow us on Instagram